if money and monetization is not the driver and life skills is the driver, as parents, where do we start with our children when it comes to their NIL journey or our child's NIL journey?
Yeah, great question. And I think these are three universal things that everyone needs to understand. The first one is personal brand. Okay. And we throw that word brand, B-R-A-N-D, around all the time. Everyone talks about the brand, the brand, the brand, the brand. What is brand, right? And my explanation to parents and to youth athletes is brand is what people say about you when you leave the room.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
Who are you? Are you on time? Are you respectful? Are you well dressed? Do you forget your equipment all the time? Are you a good student? Right?
Mm.
Or do you work hard? Right? So brand is really important. And in today's age, the digital age, personal brands are built overnight, but they can also be destroyed overnight. So social media becomes a big part of this. And remember, 80% of all NIL deals are based on social media. So the first thing is brand. How do you build a personal brand? What do you want to stand for? And that goes into the mental health aspect of being balanced.
Mm.
Besides soccer, do you like music, art, sneakers? Are you into cars? Are you into motorcycles? Are you into fishing? Who are you as a person so that when the ball stops bouncing and you look in the mirror, you see something broader than athlete? The
Mm.
second part is storytelling. How do you tell that story? How do you communicate with people? How do you share? And for young people who are used to the phone all the time and not talking and visually connecting, it's a challenge, right?
Hmm.
And by the way, both of those things go into recruiting because
Okay.
when you're talking about going to college and trying to gain the attention of a college coach, your personal brand is what he thinks about, and your communication, your
Working.
storytelling is what he knows. Then the third thing is a little bit of a longer term aspect, but it's networking, right? And then how do you build this audience that can, if you want to monetize your NIL, but more importantly, after college, get a job. So
Hmm.
those are the three things that are universal that we teach. And that's what I encourage parents to think about.
Okay, so let's dive into each one of those. Who are you? So we're sitting down with our athlete. We're talking to them about their personal brand. We have a little conversation about brand and what that means. I love this idea, to be fair, because it's really a way to talk to our child about how are you going to show up to the world, but to talk about it, framing it in a little bit of a different way that maybe our child might be more receptive to having a conversation or engaging with us in this way. Do you find that to be the case?
Absolutely. So what we do is we ask a rhetorical question. What does success look like to you as
Mm.
an athlete, right? Where do you want to get? And for the high school kids, I'm going to tell you that they want to go to college and they want to get a scholarship because that's the first two things on their list, which is fine. All right. So that means that when building your personal brand, you have to be intentional about that. So what does intentionality mean? It means that there's a purpose at the end of what you're doing. There's a driven vision for what you're trying to create. So you're trying to create a brand that's attractive to colleges.
But one of the things that's coming to mind here is going back to a little bit of stress that I have around children and identity. And, if we're saying, go volunteer at the soup kitchen and put it on social media so that it looks really good versus like, how do you want to show up to the world and it being really authentic? And in my mind, and maybe this is just generational, our children are not feeling this way, but I'm like, you know, if we keep like creating a moment that can be captured on social media and a photo op, like how real is that for our kids? How do we find that balance as parents?
So the answer to the question is authenticity, right? You have to be authentic, right? And you
Yeah.
have to be true to who you are, and you have to be able to share a story that people resonate with and aren't turned off because they think it's manufactured. And it's a balance. There's no question about it. But it's a balance when you walk in a room and you
Hmm.
shake hands. Are you authentically looking the person in the eye? Do you tell a story about yourself that's real, or do you inflate your own statistics? Are you there just to show up? Do you just make an appearance and leave? Or are you there for the right reasons? So it translates into all aspects of life, not just social media.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I guess I just, I always go back and forth between feeling that, you know, pressure that our kids are already feeling. It's just adding more pressure. But I hear you loud and clear. I do think there is a way that this can be framed and implemented and really authentically done so that our kids are in a good space.